CompTIA A Plus Core 1 220-1101 Practice Exam. Assuming that you have studied and are now well-versed in all the topics outlined in the CompTIA A Plus Core 1 exam objectives, then you are ready for the next step in your certification journey. This video is filled with 200+ questions that closely resemble the real exam and will help you to gauge your readiness. So are you prepared to test your knowledge? Great, let's begin. Question 1. Which type of RAM is a technician most likely to install when upgrading a desktop computer? The answer is B, DDR4. Double data rate, or DDR RAM, is the expected choice for upgrading a desktop computer's memory due to its wide adoption and compatibility with the memory slots found on desktop motherboards. SO-DIMM modules are smaller and used in laptops, not desktops. ECC memory has error correction useful for servers, but is overkill for most desktops. VRAM is dedicated to graphics cards and isn't used for general system upgrades. Question 2. What is the most likely reason for vertical streaks on the printouts from a laser printer? The answer is B, drum. Vertical streaks in laser printer outputs are most commonly attributed to issues with the drum unit. The drum's surface is sensitive and integral to image transfer. Damage or wear on it can lead to repeating streaks on printouts. Toner buildup on the drum can also cause streaks. This typically results from a failure of the drum's cleaning mechanism to fully clear away residual toner after each print cycle. Question 3. A user is attempting to play a DVD on a projector. While the audio plays normally, the projector is showing an error message that states, HDMI content disabled due to copy protection. What is the most probable cause of this error? The answer is C. The projector does not support the required HDCP protocol. The error message indicating HDMI content disabled due to copy protection suggests a problem with HDCP compliance, which is a protocol used to prevent unauthorized copying of digital audio and video. If the projector lacks support for the necessary HDCP standards, it won't display the video from an HDCP-protected DVD, although the audio might still transmit since it is less often protected. Question 4. While setting up a new wireless network, a technician identifies that the current channel is heavily congested with competing radio frequency signals. After conducting a spectrum analysis, the technician finds a channel that is clear of significant RF interference but is restricted from switching to this channel. What is the most probable explanation for the inability to select this channel? The answer is A. The channel is restricted for licensed band use. Radio frequency spectrum regulations often reserve certain channels for licensed entities, such as commercial broadcasters or government agencies, to prevent interference with critical services. These restricted bands are not available for public or unlicensed use, and equipment designed for general use is typically configured to avoid these channels to comply with regulatory standards. Question 5. A technician is setting up a computer to serve as a host for virtual machines. Following the installation of the required virtualization software, the technician finds they cannot create any virtual machines. What should be the next step to troubleshoot this issue? The answer is B. Enable TPM. Enabling the Trusted Platform Module, or TPM, is often necessary when setting up a virtual machine host, as many virtualization solutions require TPM for security functions like secure boot and hardware-based encryption. If the TPM is not active, The system may not fulfill the security standards demanded by the virtualization software, which can lead to the creation of VM being blocked. Therefore, turning on the TPM in the BIOS or UEFI settings could resolve the issue, allowing the technician to proceed with creating virtual machines. Question 6. A user's PC is experiencing network connectivity issues. The technician verifies the network outage and proceeds to locate the corresponding port on an unlabeled patch panel. What network tool is most appropriate for the technician to use in order to identify this port? The answer is C. Toner probe. A toner probe is an ideal tool for locating an unlabeled network port on a patch panel. The technician can use the toner part to send a signal from the user's PC end of the cable and then sweeps the probe across the patch panel. The probe detects the signal and responds with an audible tone when it's held near the correct port, thus allowing the technician to identify which port corresponds to the user's computer without the need for visible labeling. Question 7. During a presentation in a conference room, a user finds that while the projector is displaying video, there is no accompanying sound. What is the most effective solution to fix the audio problem? The answer is D. Use an HDMI connection. Choosing an HDMI connection can quickly resolve audio issues when a projector displays video without sound because HDMI transmits both audio and video signals. If the current setup uses a connection like VGA or DVI, which only carries video, the user won't hear any sound. By switching to HDMI, the audio should be transmitted seamlessly to the projector, thereby streamlining the setup and eliminating the need for separate audio cables. Question 8. A client has observed that their computer does not exceed a 100 megabits per second data transfer rate, despite having a gigabit NIC installed. Upon inspection, the technician realizes that the network cable is responsible for the limitation. Which category of network cable is most likely being utilized? The answer is A. Cat5. A Category 5 or Cat5 cable is likely causing the data transfer rate to cap at 100 megabits per second, despite the computer having a gigabit NIC. Cat5 cables have a maximum bandwidth of 100 megabits per second, which is inadequate for gigabit Ethernet's requirements. To achieve the higher speeds that the gigabit NIC supports, a Cat5e or higher rated cable, which can handle 1 gigabit per second, would be necessary. Therefore, replacing the outdated Cat5 cable with a more advanced category would resolve the speed limitation issue. Question 9. In a widely used video conferencing application, a user tries to activate their webcam without success, despite it functioning the day before. What steps should be taken first to resolve this webcam issue? The answer is A. Close other applications that are using the webcam. To fix a webcam not activating in a video conferencing app, the first step is to close any other programs that might be using it. Webcams can only be accessed by one application at a time, so if another application has not released the webcam, the conferencing software won't be able to connect to it. Shutting down any potential conflicting software allows the webcam to be accessed by the desired application. Question 10. An individual was unable to enter a data center when the entrance security was recently enhanced. The new system operates on a 13.56 MHz short-band radio frequency, allowing mobile devices to be used for entry authentication. What feature must be activated on the mobile device to allow for this authentication? The answer is C. NFC. Near-field communication, or NFC, operates at the 13.56 MHz frequency and is designed for short-range communication between compatible devices. This technology is commonly used for contactless payment systems, identity documents, and secure access control, such as entering secure buildings. For a mobile device to authenticate and gain access through the new security measures, its NFC capability must be enabled. This allows the device to communicate with the security system's reader, verifying the user's credentials for entry. Question 11. What wireless communication standard supports MIMO technology? The answer is D. 802.11n. The 802.11n standard, also known as Wi-Fi 4, was the first wireless standard to support MIMO technology, which utilizes multiple antennas for sending and receiving data, enhancing both the speed and reliability of wireless communications. This standard brought a significant improvement over its predecessors by increasing the network's capacity to handle more data and providing better performance in environments with interference, making it a key evolution in Wi-Fi technology. Question 12. When a technician turns on a computer and its attached monitor displays a no input signal detected message, while the computer's indicator lights are active, what would be the most likely solution? The answer is C. Change the input selection on the monitor. The message, "No input signal detected" on a monitor while the computer's lights are on typically indicates that the monitor is not receiving a signal from the computer's output port. The most likely solution is to change the input selection on the monitor. Monitors often have multiple input ports and can be set to receive a signal from HDMI, DisplayPort, VGA, or DVI connections. If the monitor is set to the wrong input source, it will not display the computer's signal. Question 13. What component is responsible for detecting user input on the touch screen of a mobile device? The answer is B. Digitizer. The digitizer is the component in a mobile device's touch screen that detects and processes user input. It's a layer of touch-sensitive material overlaid on the display screen that translates the touch or gesture into a digital signal that the device can understand and respond to. When a user interacts with the touch screen, the digitizer's sensors detect the pressure and location of the touch, enabling the device to execute commands or actions accordingly. Question 14. After booting up a new computer, the machine's lights and fans activate, yet there are 3 distinct beeps when starting up. What should be done to fix this problem? The answer is D. Check if the RAM is properly seated. The power on self-test is a diagnostic testing sequence run by a computer's BIOS or firmware at startup to check the hardware component's functionality before loading the operating system. If the post encounters a hardware issue, it signals the problem through a series of audible beeps. 3 consecutive beeps often indicate a memory-related issue, such as RAM not being properly seated. To address this, one should open the computer case and ensure that the RAM modules are securely inserted into their designated slots. Question 15. A significant number of printed documents are discarded at a company each day as they are not collected from the printer tray by the users. Which of the following is the best method to reduce printing costs? The answer is D. Require a pen or badge authentication before a print job is released. Requiring a pen or badge authentication at the printer before a print job is released is an effective method to reduce waste and printing costs. This approach, known as secure print release, ensures that documents are printed only when the user is physically present to collect them. This not only prevents unclaimed printouts from piling up at the printer, but also enhances document security by preventing sensitive information from being left unattended. Question 16. An e-commerce business is looking to cut costs by using the public cloud, which would allow them to scale up resources for high traffic periods and scale down when demand decreases. What term best characterizes this feature of cloud computing? The answer is A. Rapid elasticity. Rapid elasticity is a defining characteristic of cloud computing that describes the ability to quickly scale computing resources up or down as needed. In the context of an e-commerce business, this means the company can increase its server capacity to handle the surge in traffic during the peak shopping season and then decrease it once the demand subsides, ensuring they pay only for the resources they use. Question 17. A technician is troubleshooting intermittent network outages in an office and identifies EMI as the cause. What type of cabling would resolve this at the lowest cost while maintaining network efficiency? The answer is B. STP Cat6. STP, or shielded twisted pair cable, is designed to counteract electromagnetic interference, or EMI, which can disrupt network connectivity. The shielding in STP cables encases the wiring in a conductive layer, protecting the transmission from external EMI and maintaining signal integrity. Additionally, STP Cat6 is a cost-effective solution for environments with high EMI, offering enhanced performance and reliability without the higher expense of fiber optic cabling. Question 18. A company is charged with protecting personal health records. In order to minimize attack surfaces, what type of cloud computing environment would the company most likely utilize? The answer is D. Private. A company handling sensitive personal health records would likely utilize a private cloud environment to minimize attack surfaces. A private cloud offers a dedicated infrastructure for the company's use alone, which is not shared with other organizations. This exclusivity greatly reduces the number of potential entry points for cyber attacks compared to public or multi-tenant environments. Additionally, a private cloud allows for more customized security controls and policies tailored to the company's specific needs. Question 19. Which of the following statements best describes the cloud characteristic of metered utilization? The answer is B. Charged only for the resources that are used. Being charged only for the resources that are used best describes the cloud characteristic of metered utilization. Metered utilization is a pay-as-you-use model where cloud service customers are billed based on the actual amount of resources consumed rather than a flat fee. This approach aligns costs directly with usage, allowing for flexible and efficient allocation of cloud resources and ensuring that users pay only for what they need and use, much like utility billing for water or electricity. Question 20. A laptop recently developed a slight bulge on the underside and sometimes gets too hot when connected to a power source. What part of the laptop is most likely in need of replacement? The answer is B. Battery. The battery is the likely component needing replacement when a laptop exhibits a bulge on its underside and overheats, especially while charging. These symptoms are classic indicators of a failing or swollen battery, a common issue in mobile devices. Lithium-ion batteries found in laptops can swell due to overcharging, aging, or malfunction. This not only affects performance, but also poses a safety risk. Replacing the battery should resolve the overheating and remove the bulge, restoring the laptop to proper function. Question 21. A new printer with duplex printing capabilities was installed, but double-sided printing is not currently taking place. What steps should the technician take next to enable automatic double-sided printing? The answer is D. Configure the duplex option in the printer's settings. Despite the printer having the capability to print on both sides of the paper, this function often requires activation within the printer's settings. Automatic duplex printing is not always enabled by default. The technician needs to access the printer settings through its control panel or software interface on a connected computer and select the option for automatic duplexing. This action will instruct the printer to automatically print on both sides of the paper, utilizing its built-in duplex capability. Question 22. In a small office environment with multiple wireless access points, there are intermittent reports of the wireless signal being lost or slowing down significantly. This problem has been noted to occur solely with the office's wireless network. What is the most probable explanation for this issue? The answer is D. Device interference between the multiple access points. When several access points are in close proximity, they may operate on overlapping channels. This can cause signal interference, leading to connection drops and reduced speeds as devices compete for bandwidth. Properly configuring access points to use non-overlapping channels can mitigate this interference and improve the network's stability and performance. Question 23. Which cloud computing model allows for continued data access in the event of an internet service disruption locally? The answer is A. Private. A private cloud model allows for continued data access during a local internet outage because it often operates on premises and on a private network that is independent of internet connectivity. Having this type of setup ensures that critical data and applications remain accessible to the organization, even when the internet is down. This is especially crucial for businesses that require high availability and cannot afford downtime due to external network failures. Question 24. When planning to upgrade a computer with an NVMe drive, what component must a user ensure their PC has to accommodate the new drive? The answer is C. PCIe M.2 connection. NVMe drives connect through a PCIe slot, specifically one that supports the M.2 form factor. This is because NVMe drives are designed for high-speed data transfer and leverage the bandwidth provided by the PCIe interface. M.2 is the physical standard that outlines the shape, size, and connector of the drive itself, allowing it to fit into a corresponding M.2 slot on the motherboard. Before attempting an upgrade, users must confirm their motherboard has a PCIe slot available that supports an M.2 connection to ensure compatibility. Question 25. A laptop is brought in for repair with an apparent screen issue. The owner claims it's broken, yet sometimes a dim image is visible when the screen is viewed under a strong light. What is the first action the repair technician should undertake? The answer is D. Check is the backlight is functional. If a dim image is visible on a laptop screen only under strong light, this suggests that the screen itself is displaying an image, but the backlight, which illuminates the display, is not functioning. The first action a repair technician should take is to check if the backlight is operational. A non-functional backlight would prevent the screen from appearing normally lit, even though the display is still working, hence the visibility of a faint image when an external light source is applied. Question 26. A user of a laptop PC is experiencing hard drive problems. Despite a file system check indicating all files are reachable and the system is uncorrupted, An error message related to the hard drive persists. What is the most probable reason for this error message? The answer is A. Smart failure. Smart failures are indicative of imminent hard drive problems, detecting issues beyond file system errors. It monitors and provides early warnings for various reliability indicators. Despite a clean file system, a smart alert typically suggests physical wear or deeper mechanical issues that can cause a drive to fail, warranting a backup and prompt replacement of the drive. Question 27. After restarting their computer, a user encounters a single beep followed by an error message on the display. Which of the following would most likely cause this situation to occur? The answer is D. Boot order. The boot order in a computer's BIOS settings dictates the sequence in which the system searches for the operating system across different storage devices. If the primary device set in the boot order is incorrect or non-bootable, it could result in an error message after the post beep. The single beep usually signifies a successful post, but the subsequent error message could mean the system is attempting to boot from a source that doesn't have the necessary boot files, thus the need to check and adjust the boot order. Question 28. After installing a new motherboard, a technician is facing issues with the hypervisor failing to load. What setting must be enabled to ensure the hypervisor operates properly? The answer is D. VT-D. VT-D, or Intel Virtualization Technology for Directed I/O, is a feature that needs to be enabled in the BIOS settings for a hypervisor to function correctly, especially after a motherboard replacement. This technology allows for improved performance of input-output devices in a virtualized environment by giving virtual machines direct access to hardware resources. Question 29. A mobile phone is experiencing overheating, is unable to hold a charge, and performs sluggishly, particularly while charging. What is the most probable reason for these issues? The answer is D. Defective battery. A defective battery is the most likely cause of the phone overheating, having a poor charge retention, and showing sluggish performance, especially while charging. These symptoms are commonly associated with battery issues, which can arise from damage, wear, or manufacturing defects. The battery's inability to properly hold and manage a charge can lead to excessive heat generation and reduced performance as the device struggles to operate on inadequate power. Question 30. A salesperson must protect company files that are transferred to a removable drive for remote work on a Microsoft Windows laptop. Which of the following combinations would be most secure for this scenario? The answer is D. USB flash drive and BitLocker to go. USB flash drive and BitLocker to go provides a secure solution for a salesperson working remotely on a Microsoft Windows laptop. BitLocker to go is a feature that encrypts portable storage devices like USB flash drives, safeguarding the data if the drive is lost or stolen. It ensures that files remain protected in compliance with corporate data protection policies by requiring a password to access the encrypted data, thereby maintaining data integrity and confidentiality while the data is mobile. Question 31. An administrator needs to segment network traffic to ensure that broadcasts from one department's computers do not reach the entire network. By implementing which type of network device would the administrator be able to isolate the traffic into different broadcast domains? The answer is C. Router. A router is designed to manage traffic between different networks by directing data packets to their destination IP addresses. In doing so, It effectively separates broadcast domains, meaning broadcast traffic on one network segment handled by the router does not pass through to another. This isolation improves network efficiency and security by limiting broadcasts to specific network segments. Question 32. A user reports a tablet's inability to engage with the charging cable. Despite trying an alternative charger, the cable does not completely plug into the phone's charging port. What is the most likely reason for this connectivity problem? The answer is B. There is foreign debris in the charging port. The most probable cause for a tablet's charging cable not fully inserting into the port is the presence of foreign debris in the charging port. Lint, dust, or other small particles can accumulate in the port, especially if the device is frequently carried in a pocket, blocking the connection between the cable and the port's connectors. This obstruction can prevent the cable from seating properly, disrupting the charging process. Question 33. Laptop users have reported to the network administrator that they can't ping any resources within the company's network. Which of the following services should the network administrator check first? The answer is A. DHCP. The network administrator should first check DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, because it is responsible for assigning IP addresses and other network information to devices on the network. If laptops are unable to obtain an IP address, or if they receive incorrect configuration information from the DHCP server, they will not be able to communicate, locate, or even ping resources on the network. Question 34. An employee is attempting to print address labels on A4 paper using the office printer. Despite correctly placing the label sheet, the text does not align properly with the labels. To correct this issue, which printer settings should the employee adjust? The answer is D. Page orientation. Page orientation determines how the content fits onto the page, affecting how text aligns with label sheets. If the text does not align properly with the labels, it's likely because the orientation setting, portrait or landscape, does not match the label sheet's layout. Adjusting the page orientation in the printer settings to match the layout of the label sheet should resolve the alignment issue. Question 35. When a technician powers up a workstation and notices a distinct clicking noise originating from inside the case, what is the most probable explanation for this sound? The answer is D. HDD. The clicking noise often indicates a hard disk drive failure. This sound, commonly referred to as the click of death, suggests the read-write head is failing to track data on the platters, usually due to physical damage or wear. When the HDD cannot function properly, it may repeatedly attempt and fail to access data, resulting in a clicking sound. Question 36. After diagnosing a problem on a workstation, gathering information from the user, and securing a system backup, what is the technician's subsequent step in the troubleshooting process? The answer is D. Establish a theory of probable cause. After securing a backup and understanding the issue, the technician should develop a hypothesis of probable cause. This involves analyzing the gathered information to pinpoint potential reasons for the problem, laying the groundwork for systematic troubleshooting and resolution. This theory guides subsequent testing and repair strategies. Question 37. In a mixed operating system environment where some workstations use Mac OS and others Windows, the Mac OS machines are required to execute software exclusive to Windows. Which of the following would most efficiently allow the Windows software to run on the Mac OS workstations? The answer is D. Cross-platform virtualization. Cross-platform virtualization allows a Mac OS workstation to run Windows-specific software by creating a virtual environment. This method emulates a Windows operating system within the Mac OS, providing the necessary platform for the software to operate as if it were on a native Windows machine. Question 38. When a technician responds to an incident where both internet service and the POTS lines are down, which technology is most likely being utilized at the affected location? The answer is C. DSL. DSL is the likely cause because it uses the same phone lines as POTS for data transmission. If both services are down, it suggests a problem with the phone lines, as DSL does not require a separate line and integrates with the existing telephone network. Question 39. New servers have been purchased by an online retailer in order to support an increase in sales. To guarantee the optimal utilization of the new servers, which of the following should be implemented? The answer is C. Load balancer. The utilization of a load balancer ensures that incoming network traffic is efficiently distributed across multiple servers. This prevents any single server from becoming a bottleneck, improving overall performance and reliability. For the online retailer's new servers, deploying a load balancer would help manage the increased load, providing stability and efficiency during times of high sales volume. Question 40. A user has reported a malfunctioning fingerprint scanner that was operational until recently. What is the first action that should be taken following the submission of the support ticket? The answer is A. Inquire about recent changes. Understanding what has changed recently with the user's setup is pivotal. This could include new software installations, updates, or alterations in system settings that might interfere with the scanner's operations. Identifying these changes can guide the technician to a quicker resolution, as it narrows down potential causes for the scanner's issues. Question 41. A technician is troubleshooting a newly installed printer that isn't processing print requests. Upon inspection, the technician observes an error message on the printer display screen stating, "Paper jam." What should the technician do next to address this problem most effectively? The answer is B. Check for obstructions in the printer paper path. When a printer displays a paper jam error, it indicates that paper is stuck somewhere along the path that paper travels through the printer. To resolve this, the technician should open the printer according to the manufacturer's instructions and inspect the paper path for any jammed sheets or debris. Removing any obstructions will likely clear the error and allow the printer to resume normal operation. Question 42. Which of the following scenarios would benefit most from a pass cloud model? The answer is B. An application development environment. When utilizing a platform as a service PaaS model, the main advantage is the provisioning of a comprehensive, managed platform that lets developers focus on the creative side of app development without the need to maintain the core infrastructure. This allows for more efficient coding, testing, and deployment workflows, especially valuable in collaborative settings. Question 43. A service company that uses a dot matrix printer is having an issue with its multi-part carbon paper forms. When the forms are printed, the initial copy is faint, but subsequent copies are clear. Which of the following actions would most likely resolve the printer issue? The answer is B. Replace the ribbon. If the first page printed by a dot matrix printer is faint while subsequent pages are clear, It likely indicates that the printer's ribbon is not providing enough ink for a proper imprint on the first page. Replacing the worn-out ribbon with a new one would provide a fresh ink supply, thereby improving the print quality of the initial page. With carbon copies on subsequent pages, the clarity of the print is dependent on the pressure applied by the impact print head and not the ribbon. Question 44. Which of the following options would provide the most secure authentication scheme for a series of laptops that have built-in fingerprint readers? The answer is B. Allow access exclusively to the assigned laptop user. Utilizing fingerprint readers to authenticate access ensures that only the specific individuals to whom the laptops are assigned can use them, providing a high level of security by tying access to a unique biometric attribute. This method prevents unauthorized access from users who do not have registered fingerprints in the system, thereby maintaining a secure environment. Any other option would be less restrictive and therefore less secure. Question 45. A technician is alerted to an error following an unplanned restart of a server. The initial warning shows that one or more disks are degraded. What is the most probable cause for this error alert? The answer is C. RAID failure. The mention of degraded disks in a server context typically implies a RAID array issue, where one or more of the disks in the array has encountered a problem. RAID, which stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks, is designed to provide increased data reliability and performance. When disks are reported as degraded, it usually means they aren't operating normally, and the redundancy of data may be at risk. It could be due to a failure or impending failure of one of the disks in the array. Question 46. A technician receives an alert on a server after an unexpected reboot. The message states OS is missing. Which of the following is the most likely cause of this error? The answer is B. Bootable device not found. When a server indicates the OS is missing, it usually means the system can't find a bootable device. This could result from a boot sequence issue, where the correct drive isn't prioritized, or a disk failure, where the drive containing the OS is not functioning, rendering the system unable to boot. Question 47. In setting up a workstation, a technician must configure two 8-terabyte hard drives to mirror each other so that the system can withstand a single drive failure. Which storage configuration should the technician use to fulfill this requirement? The answer is B. RAID 1. RAID 1, also known as mirroring, duplicates the data across two or more disks. This setup ensures that if one drive fails, the system can continue to operate using the duplicate data from the remaining working drive, providing redundancy and fault tolerance. Question 48. What technology enables a single switch to manage traffic from multiple networks simultaneously? The answer is A. VLAN. VLAN, or Virtual Local Area Network, is a technology that creates separate, isolated networks on the same physical switch infrastructure. This allows different groups of devices to communicate as if they were on separate physical networks, effectively managing and segregating traffic to enhance security, reduce congestion, and improve network performance. By using VLANs, a single switch can handle traffic from multiple networks without the streams interfering with each other. Question 49. When a desktop computer's clock resets after being turned off and presents an error message about the date and time on startup, which would be a logical next step in troubleshooting the issue? The answer is C. Replace the CMOS battery. The CMOS battery maintains the date, time, and system settings on the motherboard. If the computer loses these settings every time it's powered down, this usually indicates that the CMOS battery is failing or dead. Replacing this battery should resolve the issue, allowing the system to retain these settings between reboots. Question 50. A user notes intermittent booting problems with their workstation. Upon boot, a technician observes a clicking sound originating from inside the case. What is the first action the technician should perform? The answer is A. Back of all data if possible. When a clicking sound is heard from a computer, it often indicates a failing hard drive, which is at risk of imminent data loss. The first and most crucial step is to back up all accessible data to prevent permanent data loss before the drive fails completely. This step takes precedence over other troubleshooting actions because once the drive fails, the data may become unrecoverable. Question 51. If a remote user with a laptop is facing ongoing internet connection problems with a wired connection, what is the most efficient method to restore their connectivity quickly? The answer is D. Use a mobile hotspot. Utilizing a mobile hotspot provides an immediate workaround for internet connectivity issues by tapping into mobile network data services. This method serves as a reliable alternative when traditional wired or Wi-Fi connections fail, ensuring that the user retains access to the internet for urgent tasks without long delays. It leverages the user's smartphone or a dedicated hotspot device to establish a connection, circumventing local ISP problems and restoring network access with minimal setup time. Question 52. How might a company efficiently provide external developers with controlled desktop environments to access its corporate network? The answer is B. VDI. Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, VDI, allows for the creation of virtualized desktop environments hosted on a central server. This setup can easily provide external developers with secure, remote access to the corporate network while maintaining centralized control over the desktop environments, meeting both accessibility and security requirements. Question 53. When troubleshooting a Cat6 cable that loses connectivity anytime the cable is moved, the technician notices the RJ45 connector is loose. Which tool can be used to resecure the RJ45 connector to the cable? The answer is D. Crimper. A crimper is a specialized tool designed for attaching various types of connectors to cables, including RJ45 connectors to Cat6 cables. It exerts the necessary pressure to crimp the connector's metal contacts onto the wires within the cable, thus securing the connection. If a cable loses connectivity when moved, this could indicate a loose connector. Recrimping with a crimper can reestablish a firm connection, reducing the risk of intermittent disconnects due to cable movement. Question 54. What protocol, commonly operating over TCP ports 20 and 21, transmits data without encryption? The answer is C. FTP. FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, operates over TCP ports 20 and 21 and is used for the transfer of data between systems. FTP does not encrypt its traffic. All transmissions, including potentially sensitive information like usernames and passwords, are in clear text. This lack of encryption makes FTP vulnerable to eavesdropping, interception, and man-in-the-middle attacks. Question 55. A business finds its computer performance is adequate when running a single application, but becomes significantly slower when operating several programs simultaneously. To enhance multitasking capabilities, which components should be prioritized for upgrading? The answer is D, RAM. Random access memory, RAM, is a critical component for multitasking on computers. It provides short-term memory storage for active programs and processes. When multiple applications are open, sufficient RAM allows a computer to switch quickly between tasks and handle simultaneous processes efficiently. Upgrading RAM can significantly improve response times under such multitasking demands. Question 56. In a client-side virtualization setup, what is the essential security feature that prevents activities or compromises on one virtual machine from impacting the others? The answer is A, isolation. Isolation in client-side virtualization is a security feature that creates secure boundaries between virtual machines, ensuring that they operate in separate, contained environments. This way, if one VM encounters issues like malware or operational failures, these problems cannot spill over or interfere with the functioning of other VM, thereby preserving the overall system's integrity and reducing downtime or the risk of data compromise. Question 57. When a smartphone is connected to a laptop for internet sharing or file transfers, what type of network is typically formed between these two devices? The answer is A, PAN. A personal area network is a network arrangement for interconnecting devices centered around an individual person's workspace. When a smartphone is connected to a laptop, it creates a PAN, allowing for internet sharing, file transfers, and other direct communication between these two devices. This setup is typically used for personal purposes and involves a limited range, usually within a few meters. Question 58. What method would be most effective for an organization looking to reduce the influx of similarly contented spam emails originating from multiple domains? The answer is A, update the keyword filtering for the spam gateway. Updating the keyword filtering for the spam gateway is an effective measure because it allows the system to identify and block emails based on specific words or phrases common in spam messages. Since the spam emails share similar content, the filter can detect and prevent them from reaching users' inboxes regardless of the changing domains they are sent from, thus mitigating the issue without relying on domain blacklisting. Question 59. In an office setting, multiple individuals have encountered an issue with a shared laser printer which is consistently producing pages with vertical streaks spanning top to bottom. What action should a technician take first to address and potentially rectify this printing problem? The answer is D, clean the drum. The presence of vertical streaks on printed documents from a laser printer often indicates a problem with the drum unit, which is a core component in the printing process. The drum is charged to attract toner powder to paper, but if it's dirty or damaged, it can cause streaks. Cleaning the drum unit removes any accumulated toner or debris. Question 60. In a data center, to prevent downtime and ensure that customer virtual machines remain operational during power outages, which hardware device should be installed? The answer is C, uninterruptible power supply. An uninterruptible power supply, UPS, is essential in a data center for maintaining the operational continuity of virtual machines during power interruptions. It provides emergency power when the input power source fails, ensuring no immediate disruption to the equipment, which is crucial for customer virtual machines that require constant availability. Question 61. Which type of storage device would provide the most optimal response times for regularly accessed programs and files on a workstation? The answer is A, M.2. M.2 is a small form factor storage device that uses PCIe connectivity to offer high-speed data transfer rates, which are significantly faster than traditional drives. By using an M.2 drive, a workstation will benefit from rapid boot times, instant application launches, and swift data access for commonly used files, thus optimizing the overall system responsiveness. Question 62. To configure a device with an additional layer of security, which combination would effectively establish two-factor authentication? The answer is C, password and fingerprint. Two-factor authentication enhances security by requiring two different forms of identification. A password is something you know, and a fingerprint is something you are. Combining these two different authentication factors fulfills the criteria for two-factor authentication. This dual-layer security mechanism ensures that even if one factor is compromised, unauthorized access is still prevented. Question 63. What is the primary role of a web server in the context of Internet services and online content delivery? The answer is D, platform for hosting homepages and business portals. A web server's principal function is to deliver web content that can be accessed across a network. It hosts websites, allowing users to connect via their web browsers to access homepages and business portals. The web server processes incoming network requests over HTTP and other protocols and provides the requested pages to the users. This enables the sharing of information in the form of web pages or sites. Question 64. A user has reported that some keystrokes on an older laptop's built-in keyboard are not being recognized, although the laptop functions properly with an attached external keyboard. Which of the following actions would most likely resolve the issue? The answer is B, clean the keyboard. The issue of unregistered keystrokes on an older laptop's built-in keyboard, when an external keyboard works fine, suggests that the problem is with the physical keyboard itself. Over time, dust, debris, and other contaminants can accumulate under the keys, leading to poor contact or obstruction of the key mechanism. Cleaning the keyboard can remove these obstructions, allowing the keys to register correctly when pressed. Question 65. A company is setting up a smartphone for the CEO to use and needs a system to remotely wipe the device in case it's lost or stolen, as well as to control the installation of apps. What solution would be most suitable for these requirements? The answer is D, mobile device management. Mobile device management software provides the necessary administrative control for a company to manage and secure its mobile devices. It enables remote wiping of data on smartphones if they are lost or stolen, ensuring sensitive information is not compromised. Additionally, mobile device management allows the company to manage app installations, ensuring only approved applications are used. Question 66. Receipts are coming out of the point-of-sale printer with black streaks across the entire printout. The text is visible but appears overly dark and is hard to read. What is the most likely cause of this issue? The answer is B. Printhead temperature is set too high, lower the temperature. Thermal printing technology is commonly used in receipt printers. If the temperature of the printhead is set too high, it can lead to the thermal paper reacting excessively to the heat, which results in black streaks and overly darkened images. This happens because the paper is coated with a chemical that darkens when heated, and excessive heat can cause a more extensive reaction than intended. By lowering the printhead temperature, only the desired areas are affected, which corrects the issue and produces clear, readable images. Question 67. An employee has requested an upgrade to their company-issued laptop in order to improve performance while working with a large database stored on the same drive as the OS. Which option would best achieve this performance goal? The answer is C. Upgrade from an HDD to an SSD. Upgrading from an HDD hard disk drive to an SSD solid-state drive is the best option for improving performance when working with a large database because SSD provide faster read and write speeds compared to HDD. This results in quicker data access and retrieval. By using an SSD, you can significantly reduce the time it takes to load the database and execute queries. Question 68. A programmer is currently using client-side virtualization and needs an environment that is segregated from the main infrastructure in order to experiment with some volatile code. Which option would be the best solution for the programmer to use in this scenario? The answer is D. Sandbox environment. A sandbox environment provides a contained, controlled, and temporary virtual space where code can be executed without affecting the primary operating environment. This isolation ensures that any potential issues, errors, or security risks introduced by the experimental code do not impact the main system or other working environments. Sandboxes are designed specifically for testing, allowing developers to freely experiment and test the impact of new code with the assurance that it will not cause unintended consequences. Question 69. A customer has brought in a tablet for repair, reporting that the cursor moves on its own. The technician observes that the screen shows no signs of physical damage. What is the most probable explanation for the cursor's erratic behavior? The answer is D. The touchscreen requires recalibration. Over time, or after extended use, the touch sensor's alignment with the display coordinates can drift. Recalibrating the touchscreen can correct inconsistencies in touch sensitivity and alignment, which are often responsible for a cursor that drifts or moves unexpectedly on a tablet. This process redefines the touch area to accurately correspond with the display's graphical interface, thereby eliminating the erratic cursor behavior. Question 70. A customer mentions that their smartphone was recently dropped. Now there is no response when the user attempts to tap on an app, even though the display shows all app icons correctly. What is the most likely cause for this issue? The answer is A. Damaged digitizer. The digitizer is the component of the smartphone that processes touch inputs. When a phone is dropped, the digitizer can be damaged without affecting the visual display of the screen. This means the icons can appear normal, but the phone doesn't register the touch due to the damaged digitizer. Thus, if the screen looks fine but doesn't respond to touch after a drop, the issue is most likely a damaged digitizer. Question 71. Which statements are true when comparing the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz wireless frequencies? Select 2. The answer is C and D. 2.4 GHz signals penetrate solid objects better, and 2.4 GHz has a larger coverage area. The 2.4 GHz wireless frequency band has a longer wavelength than the 5 GHz frequency band, which allows it to penetrate solid objects, such as walls and furniture, more effectively. Additionally, due to its longer wavelength, The 2.4 GHz signal can cover a larger area with the same amount of power compared to the 5 GHz signal. These characteristics make the 2.4 GHz band better suited for broader coverage and better signal stability through various obstacles, although it may offer slower speeds than 5 GHz and be more susceptible to interference. Question 72. When a technician is preparing to upgrade a laptop's RAM, what is the first step that should be performed? The answer is C. Verify the new RAM is supported by the laptop's motherboard. Before any hardware upgrade, it is important to ensure compatibility between the new components and the existing system. For a RAM upgrade, this involves verifying that the new memory is supported by the laptop's motherboard. This includes checking the type, speed, size, and maximum capacity of RAM that the motherboard can handle. If the new RAM is not compatible, it could lead to system instability or failure to boot, rendering the upgrade ineffective. Question 73. A growing company needs to expand data center capacity quickly but lacks staff and space to expand internally. They have several small offices and remote users needing significant compute and storage resources. Additionally, cost is not a concern. Which solution is best suited for their expansion? The answer is B. IaaS. Infrastructure as a service provides scalable computing and storage resources over the internet, ideal for a company needing quick data center expansion without the hassle of managing physical infrastructure. It allows for rapid scaling and flexible resource allocation, aligning with the company's immediate growth requirements and remote operations. Question 74. A technician is setting up a new workstation equipped with 4 large-capacity hard drives. The desired storage setup needs to offer both speed and data redundancy. Which RAID configuration would be most appropriate for these needs? The answer is D. RAID 10. RAID 10, also known as RAID 1 plus 0, combines disk mirroring and striping, offering both speed and redundancy. It mirrors each drive's data to another for redundancy and stripes across the mirrored pairs for increased speed. This setup requires at least 4 drives and is ideal for environments where both fast read-write speeds and data integrity are required. Question 75. A support request has been made for a mobile payment device that is failing to recognize contactless payment methods. What is the most likely source of this problem? The answer is A. NFC. Near-field communication technology enables contactless payment transactions between a mobile payment device and a receiver. If a device is failing to recognize contactless payment methods, the most probable source of the problem is an issue with the NFC functionality. This could be due to hardware failure, interference, or software errors within the NFC module, preventing it from detecting the payment receiver or completing the transaction. Additionally, NFC must be enabled on the mobile device to facilitate contactless transactions. Question 76. A technician is diagnosing an older desktop computer that is experiencing a random Windows BSOD followed by intermittent shutdowns. After determining that temperature readings for the system are normal, what is the next step the technician should take? The answer is A. Examine the motherboard for capacitors swelling. Examining the motherboard for swollen capacitors is the correct step after ruling out overheating because failing capacitors are a common cause of instability in older desktops. Swollen or leaking capacitors can lead to irregular power supply to the system's components, causing random BSOD and shutdowns. By visually inspecting the motherboard, The technician can identify if any capacitors are bulging or leaking, which would necessitate their replacement to stabilize the system. Question 77. A user wishes to set up a dual monitor arrangement with their laptop. The user has already connected the external monitor with the appropriate video cable. What action should be performed next to get both displays operational? The answer is C. Adjust the monitor display settings. Once the correct physical connection is established, the laptop often requires configuration to utilize the additional monitor. This involves enabling the second display in the system settings, where the user can choose to either mirror the primary display or extend the desktop across both monitors, as well as arrange the display order and set the preferred resolution for the new monitor. Question 78. A technician is troubleshooting a computer that has an intermittent problem with a projector. The technician suspects the video cable is the cause and replaces the cable with a known good cable, but the problem persists. What is the appropriate next step for the technician to take? The answer is B. Research the issue further and establish a new theory to test. When a known good cable does not resolve an intermittent video issue with a projector, the next appropriate step is to research the issue further and establish a new theory to test. This is because the initial hypothesis, that the cable was the source of the problem, has been disproven. The technician must now look for other potential causes, such as issues with the projector itself, the video output from the computer, or even software drivers. Question 79. An employee requests additional memory for their workstation to perform their job duties more efficiently. Upon inspecting the interior of their computer, a technician notices there are 4 RAM slots grouped in pairs by color. What type of memory configuration is most likely used by this system's motherboard? The answer is B. Dual channel. The dual-channel configuration is indicated by the presence of 4 RAM slots on a motherboard grouped in pairs by color. This color coding is a design feature that guides the installation of RAM modules in matched pairs to enable dual-channel mode. When identical memory modules are inserted into these color-coded slots, the system can access RAM in 2 channels, doubling the data throughput to the CPU compared to single-channel configuration, and thus improving overall system performance. Question 80. What cloud characteristic permits all VM within a virtualized environment to be assigned RAM for their operations? The answer is D. Resource pooling. Resource pooling is a cloud computing characteristic that allows providers to serve multiple clients with provisions from a pool of computing resources. In a virtualized environment, this means RAM and other resources can be dynamically distributed among various VM according to demand, ensuring efficient utilization and flexibility in resource allocation. It enables seamless RAM assignment to each VM based on current needs without manual intervention or rigid hardware constraints. Question 81. Which Wi-Fi standard is capable of operating on both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz frequencies? The answer is D. 802.11 AEC. The 802.11 ADC standard is capable of operating on both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz frequencies because it was designed to support dual-band wireless technology. This means that devices using this standard can communicate over the 2 different frequencies. Question 82. A technician is setting up a workstation's network settings manually. The workstation can ping company servers using their IP addresses, but not through their UNC paths. What network setting might be causing this connectivity problem? The answer is A. Domain name system. The domain name system is responsible for translating domain names, such as those used in UNC paths, into IP addresses that computers use to locate and communicate with each other over a network. If a workstation can ping servers by IP address, but not by UNC path, it suggests that the DNS settings may be incorrect or the DNS service is not resolving the names properly. Without proper DNS resolution, the workstation cannot convert the UNC path names to their corresponding IP addresses. Question 83. A user just installed a TV and soundbar to enhance their audiovisual setup. Upon completion, the TV is emitting sound, but the soundbar remains silent. What could be the most likely reason for the soundbar's lack of audio? The answer is D. The HDMI ARC port on the TV is not being utilized. The HDMI ARC port on a television is designed to transfer audio directly to a soundbar. If there's no sound coming from the soundbar while the TV itself is emitting audio, it probably means that the HDMI ARC port is not being utilized. This specific port needs to be used for the sound to be channeled from the TV to the soundbar, as using a standard HDMI port will not send the necessary audio signal. Question 84. What technology can be employed to establish a secure connection between a remote user's laptop and a company's server? The answer is B. VPN. A virtual private network, VPN, can be used to create a secure connection between a remote user's laptop and a company's server because it encrypts the data traffic between the 2 points. This encryption ensures that sensitive information is transmitted securely over the internet, shielding it from eavesdropping or interception. VPN provide remote users with a way to access company resources as if they were directly connected to the internal network, maintaining security and privacy even when using unsecured or public networks. Question 85. A technician is servicing a projector that is displaying blurred images. Which action will most likely correct this issue? The answer is A. Adjusting the lens. When a projector displays blurred images, adjusting the lens is the primary action to take because the focus of the lens directly affects the clarity of the projection. If the lens is out of focus, the images will appear fuzzy. Adjusting the lens helps to sharpen the image by ensuring that the light passing through it is correctly focused onto the projection surface. Question 86. A support technician is setting up an IP phone in a small office that has an unmanaged switch. The switch does not support the 802.3AF or similar protocol, and the IP phone fails to turn on when plugged into an RJ40 5-wall socket. Which of the following could be used to apply power to the IP phone? The answer is C. Install a PoE injector. In a setup where an unmanaged switch does not provide power over Ethernet, PoE, an IP phone that depends on this technology, will not receive the necessary power through its Ethernet connection. A PoE injector bridges this gap by supplying electrical power to the Ethernet cable alongside data. This device is connected between the switch and the phone, injecting power without needing to alter the existing network infrastructure. It's a practical solution for activating PoE-dependent devices when the network hardware lacks the capability. Question 87. Which network service can ensure that a device on a network consistently receives the same IP address based on its MAC address? The answer is A. DHCP. Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, DHCP, offers the functionality of assigning consistent IP addresses to devices on a network based on their MAC addresses through a mechanism known as DHCP reservation. When a device connects to the network, the DHCP server maps the device's MAC address to an IP address, ensuring that each time the device connects, it receives the same IP address. This is particularly useful for devices that need to have a predictable IP address. Question 88. A technician sets up a new printer at a workstation and attempts to print a test page which fails to print. Upon checking, the printer is listed as generic printer in the print queue. What action should the technician take to resolve this printing issue? The answer is B. Download and install the device-specific print drivers for the OS. When a printer is listed as generic printer, it often indicates that the system is using a default or generic driver rather than one specifically designed for the printer. This can cause functionality issues, such as failing to print. To resolve this issue, download and install the printer-specific drivers. These dedicated drivers are designed to support all the features of the printer, ensuring that the computer can communicate effectively with the printer and execute print jobs correctly. Question 89. A projector in a conference room is not functioning. When it is turned on, it displays the error message, "No signal input." Which of the following actions should be performed first to address the issue? The answer is D. Inspect the video cable and replace it if necessary. The error message, "No signal input," on a projector typically indicates that it is not receiving a video signal from the source device. The first step should be to inspect the video cable, because this cable is responsible for transmitting the signal from the source to the projector. If there is any damage or if the cable is not properly connected at either end, the signal cannot be transmitted, resulting in the error message. Question 90. A user has reported that their computer is performing poorly, with constant activity indicated by the hard drive LED. The operating system also loads slowly. What is the most likely cause of these problems? The answer is D. There is insufficient storage space on the HDD drive. When a computer exhibits constant hard drive activity and slow operating system loading times, it suggests that the hard drive is overworked, which often occurs when there is insufficient storage space. If the hard disk drive, HDD, is nearly full, the operating system struggles to find space to perform routine tasks, such as creating temporary files, which can drastically reduce performance. Clearing up space on the HDD or upgrading to a larger drive typically resolves these issues. Question 91. A company has decided to transfer standard organizational applications like email and document sharing services to the cloud. Which cloud service model would be most appropriate for this purpose? The answer is C. SaaS. Software as a service, or SaaS, is the most suitable cloud service model for moving standard organizational applications, such as email and document sharing services, to the cloud because it provides access to software applications over the internet. SaaS solutions are managed by the service provider and do not require the user to manage, install, or upgrade software. Everything is maintained by the provider. Question 92. Following the release of a new Windows version, a vital piece of software was found to be no longer compatible. What is the best solution to maintain the use of this software? The answer is B. Set up a virtual environment for the incompatible software. Setting up a virtual environment for the incompatible software allows the organization to upgrade to the latest Windows version while still providing access to the legacy software. Virtualization creates a separate, contained environment that can run a different, older operating system where the necessary software remains compatible. This approach avoids the disruptions of not upgrading or partially upgrading workstations and does not require the additional expense of purchasing new hardware. Question 93. Which of the following upgrades would significantly increase the power supply demands of a workstation? The answer is C. Installing a graphics card. Installing a graphics card can significantly increase the power supply demands of a workstation because such cards often require more electrical power to operate than the integrated graphics chips they replace. High-performance graphics cards have their own processors and memory, which enable advanced graphics processing tasks, but also draw substantial power. They often require direct connections to the PSU and can be one of the most power-hungry components in a computer system. Question 94. A technician is installing a peripheral device that requires a 9-pin serial connection, and the new computer does not have this port. What kind of port can be used with an adapter to enable a connection for a 9-pin serial connector? The answer is C. USB. USB ports are versatile and can accommodate various adapters, enabling connections with older hardware interfaces like the 9-pin serial connector. This compatibility ensures that devices requiring legacy serial connections can still be used with contemporary computers. Question 95. What type of network is typically implemented in a server room to link servers with high-speed storage solutions? The answer is D. SAN. A storage area network is designed specifically for handling large volumes of storage data, providing high-speed networked storage to multiple servers. This allows servers to access shared storage as if it were directly attached to the server, leading to enhanced performance, better storage utilization, and improved data redundancy. SANs are particularly valuable in environments where servers need to perform high-volume transactions or access large databases quickly and reliably. Question 96. Which of the following storage solutions would enable the quickest possible data retrieval speeds? The answer is B. M.2 NVMe's SSD. M.2 NVMe's SSD deliver the fastest data retrieval speeds due to their use of the PCIe interface, which offers higher bandwidth than SATA and SAS connections. NVMe drives are designed for rapid access and transfer of data, significantly outperforming other SSD and HDD in speed. Question 97. Which of the following cloud models would provide a company with the greatest level of control over their data management? The answer is C. Private. A private cloud setup affords an organization dedicated resources on a private network. This configuration allows for tailored security measures and system configurations. It enables the organization to autonomously manage and orchestrate its computing resources, which can be optimized for its unique workflows and data processes, without the variable performance factors associated with other shared environment options. Question 98. A user finds that their network printer is consuming twice as much paper per print job than anticipated. To correct this and achieve the desired outcome, which setting could the user adjust? The answer is A. Duplex. The duplex setting on a printer controls whether the printer will print on both sides of the paper or just one side. If a print job is using double the amount of paper expected, It's likely because the printer is set to single-sided printing when double-sided was intended. Adjusting the setting to duplex will enable the printer to print on both sides of each sheet, reducing the total amount of paper used by half. Question 99. A technician suspects a desktop computer's malfunction is due to a faulty power supply unit. What should be the technician's next troubleshooting step? The answer is B. Conduct research based on the symptoms to test the theory. Once a technician theorizes a power supply unit fault in a desktop computer, the next step is to perform targeted research based on the symptoms. This helps to confirm the PSU as the root cause before taking corrective action, ensuring the theory is tested and other potential issues are excluded. Question 100. A company needs to enable remote work while adhering to strict data protection laws. They want to ensure full control over the operating systems used by their employees. What technology should their IT department set up to facilitate this? The answer is A. VDI. Virtual Desktop Infrastructure, VDI, is the solution for maintaining strict control over the operating systems of remote workstations. VDI allows IT departments to create managed virtual desktops housed on central servers. This centralized control meets stringent data protection regulations as the company can implement security policies, manage data access, and ensure that all interactions are secure and monitored, regardless of the employee's location. Question 101. Which of the following scenarios would most warrant using a virtual machine as a sandbox? The answer is A. Testing a new application in a protected environment. A virtual machine serves as an isolated environment where software can be installed and run without affecting the host system. Using a VM allows developers or testers to run and test new applications without the risk of harming the operating system or other programs. If an issue arises within the VM, it doesn't impact the actual hardware or the primary operating environment. It's contained within that virtual space. This isolation makes VM an ideal sandbox for testing new software where stability or security risks are a concern. Question 102. In a SOHO environment, which device is typically employed to establish an internet connection for multiple devices? The answer is D. Router. A router functions as a gateway by connecting the local area network within a SOHO environment to the wider internet. When data needs to be sent out to the internet, the router determines the best route for it to take and sends it through to the internet service provider. Conversely, when data comes in from the internet, the router reads the destination IP address and forwards the data to the appropriate device within the LAN. This whole process is known in networking as routing. Question 103. A technician is preparing to set up a gaming computer. Which of the following would be of great importance for this type of setup? The answer is D. Ensuring the PSU has a sufficient wattage rate. Ensuring the power supply unit, PSU, has a sufficient wattage rating is crucial in a gaming computer setup due to the high power demands of gaming components, such as high-end graphics cards and processors. These components require more power to operate at peak performance. A PSU with an adequate wattage rating ensures that all parts receive the necessary power to function reliably and prevents system instability or damage that can occur from power deficiencies. Question 104. Virtual machine escape can most likely lead to which of the following security concerns? The answer is B. Hypervisor compromise. A virtual machine escape poses a significant security risk because it could allow an attacker to bypass the isolation provided by the hypervisor. If the hypervisor is compromised, the attacker could potentially gain access to the host system and all other virtual machines running on that host, leading to a breach of the entire virtualized environment. Question 105. Which of the following cables uses F-type connectors? The answer is A. Coaxial. The F-type connector is specifically compatible with coaxial cables and is engineered for the secure transmission of high-frequency electrical signals. This combination is common in various types of data communication systems due to its effectiveness in preserving signal integrity over distances, which is crucial for both television and internet services. Question 106. Which of the following are most likely to cause a cell phone to get hot? Select 2. The answer is A and D. Using the phone as a hotspot and too many applications are open. Using the phone as a hotspot and having too many applications open are likely to cause a cell phone to get hot because both activities intensively use the phone's processor and radio hardware. Hotspot usage engages the device's wireless communication systems continuously, while running multiple apps increases the CPU workload, both of which generate excessive heat. Question 107. A technician is setting up a new router for a Soho network, and they have received an IP address from the ISP for the router's external interface. Which IP address was most likely assigned to the router's WAN port? The answer is B. 19.245.82.64. The given address is a public IP, which is required for a router's WAN port to communicate with the ISP and access the internet. The alternative IP addresses are all in ranges typically reserved for private networks. Unlike public IP addresses, private IP addresses are used internally within a private network and are not routable on the internet. Question 108. During a burn-in test, a workstation shuts down without warning. What is the most probable reason for this occurrence? The answer is C. Overheating. During a burn-in test, the system's components are subjected to intensive stress to verify their reliability and performance. This process generates substantial heat. If the generated heat exceeds the cooling capabilities of the system, it can trigger safety mechanisms that abruptly power off the workstation to prevent hardware damage. Question 109. A support request has been logged for a malfunctioning laser printer. Presently, the text is failing to adhere to the paper. To rectify this issue, which component most likely needs replacing? The answer is A. Fuser. In a laser printer, the fuser heats up and presses the toner powder onto the paper, creating a permanent image. If printed text or images are not sticking to the paper, this typically indicates that the fuser isn't reaching the necessary temperature or isn't applying sufficient pressure to fuse the toner to the paper. This failure to properly bond the toner results in smudging or loose particles that can be wiped off the page. Replacing a defective fuser unit would usually resolve such issues. Question 110. Which type of device is most commonly associated with the use of a Thunderbolt cable? The answer is C. Apple laptop. Apple laptops are most commonly associated with the use of Thunderbolt cables because Apple was an early adopter of the Thunderbolt interface, incorporating it into their laptop designs for high-speed data transfer and charging. This made Thunderbolt a standard feature in many Apple laptops, facilitating connectivity with a wide range of peripherals and displays. Question 111. A technician identifies that a printer's fuser is overheating and has paper stuck to it. Given the scenario, what would be the most appropriate next step in addressing this issue? The answer is A. Turn off and disable the printer before performing any repairs. The most appropriate next step is to turn off and disable the printer to prevent further use and potential injury or damage. An overheating fuser can cause safety hazards, such as burns or even a fire risk. Disabling the printer ensures no one attempts to use it while it's in an unsafe state. It also allows the fuser to cool down before any attempt is made to remove the stuck paper or perform repairs. Question 112. A user reports limited or no connectivity on a laptop. Upon inspection, it is found that the device has the following IP address. IPv4 address 169.254.42.18. Which of the following is the most likely cause of this issue? The answer is A. DHCP failure. The IP address 169.254.42.18 is an automatic private IP address, also known as a PIPA. A PIPA addresses are self-assigned by a computer when it's configured to obtain an IP address automatically, but fails to receive one from the DHCP server. This failure to obtain an IP from the DHCP server is most likely due to the server being down or unreachable, which prevents the distribution of network configuration parameters. This situation results in limited or no connectivity for the client device. Question 113. Which ports are commonly used as the default for HTTP and HTTPS traffic? Select 2. The answer is C and E, 80 and 443. Ports 80 and 443 are the standard ports assigned for web traffic. Port 80 is used for HTTP, which is unencrypted, and port 443 is used for HTTPS, which is encrypted. Question 114. A user complains that documents are not printing out correctly from a laser printer. Some of the print is missing, and the pages come out unreadable. Which of the following would potentially correct the issue? The answer is A. Replace the transfer roller. In laser printers, the transfer roller aids in transferring toner from the drum to the paper. If the roller is worn out or damaged, it can lead to incomplete transfer of the toner, which manifests as missing or faint areas in the printed document. Regular wear or contamination of the roller can impair its ability to maintain an even electrical charge, essential for attracting the toner particles from the drum to the paper. Question 115. Which of the following is a remote access protocol that is considered not secure? The answer is D. Telnet. Telnet is considered an insecure remote access protocol because it transmits data, including passwords, in plain text without any form of encryption. This makes it susceptible to eavesdropping, where malicious actors can easily intercept and read the transmitted information. Question 116. Which of the following cable types is commonly used to connect printers directly to a workstation? The answer is C. USB. The USB cable is the gold standard for connecting modern printers directly to a workstation due to its widespread support across multiple devices, plug-and-play capability, and ability to carry both power and data, simplifying the setup and use of printers. Question 117. What is the greatest amount of power that PoE Plus can deliver to a single device? The answer is B, 30 watts. The standard for power over Ethernet plus PoE Plus, which is IEEE 802.3 AET, has an upper limit of 30 watts of power that can be transmitted over a single Ethernet cable to a device. This increased capacity compared to the original PoE standard and allowed for the powering of more demanding devices directly through the network cable without the need for additional power sources. Question 118. Which hardware component should be replaced to fix an unresponsive touchscreen on an Android smartphone after ruling out software-related issues? The answer is C, digitizer. The digitizer is the component of a smartphone responsible for processing touch input. When the touchscreen doesn't respond and software issues have been ruled out, replacing the digitizer is often necessary because it means the physical touch interface is likely damaged or malfunctioning. Question 119. When replacing RAM in a server equipped with a redundant power supply, which of the following options would best prevent damage due to electrostatic discharge? The answer is C. Use a grounding strap. The use of a grounding strap prevents electrostatic discharge, or ESD damage when handling sensitive electronic components. A grounding strap, also known as an antistatic wrist strap, safely dissipates any static electricity that might be present on the technician's body or clothing. This is crucial because ESD can damage electronic components without visible signs, potentially causing the hardware to fail. Question 120. For a laser printer failing to print on one side of the paper, even after changing the toner, which action should the technician take next? The answer is D. Calibrate the printer. Calibrating the printer is likely the next best step because it can correct issues where the printer is not properly aligning the print on the page. This process adjusts the printer to precisely match the print position with the paper size and type being used, which can resolve inconsistencies in printing on specific areas of the page. Calibration is a standard procedure when encountering print quality problems, not resolved by replacing consumables like toner cartridges. Question 121. To configure a host-based firewall for SMTP traffic, which port number needs to be open? The answer is D, 25. The Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP, which is the standard protocol for sending emails, traditionally uses port 25 for communication. This port must be enabled on a firewall to allow SMTP traffic to pass through, ensuring that emails can be sent from the local system to an email server. Question 122. Which of the following devices would be best suited for a technician to monitor all outbound traffic in a SOHO setup? The answer is B, network tap. A network tap is designed to provide a way to access the data flowing across a computer network. In a SOHO environment, a network tap is an alternative to managed switches with port mirroring capabilities. It allows the technician to effectively monitor and capture all outbound traffic without interfering with the network's operation. This tool is especially useful for troubleshooting network issues, performing security monitoring, or collecting data for analysis without the high cost of more advanced networking equipment. Question 123. Which of the following devices can provide a laptop with connectivity to a wired network and multiple peripherals, including dual monitors? The answer is C, Docking station. A docking station is designed to expand the connectivity options of a laptop. It typically includes ports for multiple displays, USB ports for peripherals, audio interfaces for speakers, and a network port for wired internet access. By connecting the laptop to a docking station, all these peripherals can be used simultaneously, often powered by a single connection to the laptop, thus streamlining the workspace and reducing cable clutter. Question 124. Which of the following statements is true regarding the functional difference in data transmission between a hub and a switch in a network? The answer is A. Switches target a specific device. Hubs broadcast to all devices. Switches are designed to conserve network bandwidth by directing data frames to a specific device using MAC addresses, which minimizes unnecessary data traffic. In contrast, hubs lack this intelligence and broadcast incoming data packets to every device in the network, regardless of the intended recipient. Question 125. What type of network device is typically employed to manage and distribute incoming network traffic across various server nodes to ensure no single node becomes overwhelmed? The answer is A. Load balancer. A load balancer is designed to spread network or application traffic across multiple servers in a network. This distribution helps to optimize resource use, maximize throughput, minimize response time, and avoid overload on any single server. When one server gets too many requests, the load balancer forwards excess traffic to other servers with more capacity, ensuring a balanced load across the network and preventing any one server from becoming a bottleneck that could slow down or interrupt service. Question 126. What is the most probable cause for a monitor to display an image with a pink hue, even after a technician has replaced the video card and updated the graphics drivers? The answer is A. Physical cable issue. A monitor displaying an image with a pink, yellow, or blue hue typically indicates an issue with the physical connection rather than a problem with the monitor's internal components or settings. This coloration issue often stems from a faulty or loosely connected cable, where all the necessary color signals are not being transmitted properly. Question 127. A technician is setting up a SOHO network with 3 wireless access points and wants to minimize latency. What measures should the technician take? The answer is D. Assign distinct channels to each access point. Using different channels for each access point in a SOHO network setup helps to minimize interference. Interference can increase latency, as devices may have to retransmit data packets that don't arrive correctly at their destination. By assigning distinct channels, particularly those that are non-overlapping, the technician ensures that the signals from the different access points do not interfere with each other, thereby reducing the chance of latency and packet loss. Question 128. In a laptop, where would you typically find the built-in antenna for the wireless connection? The answer is D. Under the bezel of the display frame. The antenna for a laptop's wireless connection is typically located within the bezel around the display screen. This positioning allows for optimal signal reception, as the display is typically opened up and away from the main body of the laptop, minimizing interference from the device's metal components. This strategically elevated point ensures the antenna has a less obstructed path for wireless signals, thus enhancing the laptop's ability to maintain a strong connection to wireless networks. Question 129. For a network requiring at least 10 gigabits per second throughput, Which of the following would be the minimum cable category that could be used? The answer is C, Cat 6. Category 6 cables are designed to support speeds up to 10 gigabits per second for lengths up to 55 meters, making it the minimum category suitable for a network infrastructure that demands such throughput. Question 130. Which of the following is the most suitable scenario for employing a client-side hypervisor? The answer is A, testing applications in various environments. A client-side hypervisor is ideal for testing applications in various environments because it allows a single physical machine to host multiple, isolated virtual machines. This enables software developers to efficiently simulate different operating systems, configurations, and environments on a single hardware platform. By using a client-side hypervisor, a developer can easily switch between VM to test how an application performs under different conditions without the need for multiple physical machines. Question 131. A technician is tasked with adding an economical storage solution to a rack-mount server. Which of the following drives best meets these requirements? The answer is C, 15,000 RPM HDD. A 15,000 RPM HDD is a cost-effective choice for a rack-mount server because it offers higher performance at a lower price point compared to solid-state drives. While SSD provides superior speed and efficiency, their higher cost can be a limiting factor, especially with large capacities. The 15,000 HDD strike a balance, offering improved performance over standard HDD without the premium cost of SSD, making them a suitable choice for budget-conscious yet performance-oriented server setups. Question 132. A technician recently updated the firmware on a company's laser printers. Immediately after, users begin reporting that printed documents are outputting garbled characters. What is the most likely cause of the issue? The answer is D. The print server requires updated print drivers. When a firmware update on printers leads to garbled characters on the printouts, the most likely cause is a mismatch between the new firmware and the existing printer drivers. Firmware updates can often change how a printer interprets data. If the printer drivers are not updated to match the new firmware, they may not communicate effectively with the printer, resulting in incorrect or garbled outputs. Question 133. A user reports to the help desk that their smartphone requires more than 24 hours to charge completely, even after trying different outlets and charging cables. What should be the technician's first step in troubleshooting the issue? The answer is A. Check the power rating of the charger. Checking the power rating of the charger is the first step in troubleshooting the smartphone's slow charging issue because the charger's output directly affects charging speed. If the charger's power rating is too low for the smartphone, it won't deliver sufficient current to charge the device efficiently, resulting in prolonged charging times. Question 134. A user attempts to install an application on a desktop, but the install fails. Upon investigation, a technician notices the installation files differ from those on another user's computer. What is the next action the technician should take? The answer is D. Determine the source of the installation files. Discrepancies in the installation files could indicate that the user downloaded the application from an unreliable or incorrect source. This could lead to installation failure or even introduce potentially harmful software. Verifying the origin of the files ensures they are from a legitimate, trusted source and match the version and integrity of the files used in successful installations. This step is essential for both resolving the installation issue and maintaining the security and integrity of the user system. Question 135. A technician is troubleshooting a workstation that will not boot. The technician initially suspects a memory failure, but runs a diagnostic test which confirms the memory is fully functional. What should be the technician's next course of action? The answer is C. Consider another theory of probable cause. When a technician rules out memory failure as the cause of a workstation not booting, the next logical step is to consider alternative causes. The process of elimination is key in technical troubleshooting. Since the memory has been tested and found to be functional, the issue likely lies elsewhere, such as with the motherboard, power supply, processor, or even software and operating system problems. The technician should systematically test these alternative theories until the exact source of the boot issue is found. Question 136. A computer fails to pass the post and is stuck on the manufacturer's logo screen. Which of the following actions should a technician perform next? The answer is A. Evaluate each RAM module by testing them individually. When a computer fails to pass the power on self-test and halts at the manufacturer's logo screen, it indicates a potential hardware failure or configuration issue. Out of the provided options, the logical next step is to troubleshoot the memory, which is one of the components inspected during the post. To do this, test each RAM module individually and in different slots. This helps to isolate a faulty RAM module or slot, as either can cause the post to fail. Question 137. What should a technician do to restore access to encrypted data on a hard drive that fails to boot following a motherboard, RAM, and video card upgrade, given that the TPM was active on the original system? The answer is D. Temporarily reinstall the old motherboard and decrypt the data. To access TPM encrypted data, the original motherboard containing the specific TPM used for encryption is necessary. The TPM securely stores unique cryptographic keys, and when a motherboard is replaced, the new TPM lacks these keys. Therefore, without the original motherboard's TPM, the system cannot decrypt the data. Question 138. What is the first step that should be taken when troubleshooting a laser printer that is producing printouts with duplicate, echo-like images on each page? The answer is D. Clean the rollers and drum. Cleaning the rollers and drum in a laser printer is the first step in troubleshooting duplicate, echo-like images on printouts because these components directly affect print quality. Over time, toner residue and dust can accumulate on the drum and rollers, causing repeated or ghosted images. Regular cleaning ensures these parts are free of debris that could cause such printing errors, often resolving the issue without the need for more complex repairs or replacements. Question 139. To equip a laptop with an encrypted hard drive that requires a pen for decryption at login, what hardware component must be included in the configuration? The answer is A. TPM. In the context of hard drive encryption, the TPM securely stores encryption keys. This ensures that the decryption process at login is secure and that the encryption keys are protected until the correct pen is entered. The integration of TPM in the system provides a hardware-level security layer necessary for managing and protecting the encryption keys used for accessing the encrypted hard drive. Question 140. A technician is tasked with troubleshooting a projector that intermittently shuts off and remains off for about 20 minutes before it can be powered on. Once powered on again, the cycle repeats. To address this issue, what should the technician try first? The answer is A. Clean out the projector's filter. The issue described is indicative of the projector overheating, which can be caused by a clogged or dirty filter. Projectors have filters to prevent dust and particles from entering and damaging internal components. Over time, these filters can become blocked, restricting airflow and causing the projector to overheat. This overheating triggers safety mechanisms that shut the projector off to prevent damage. The inability to power it back on immediately is due to the cool-down period required before it can safely operate again. Question 141. For migrating virtual machines from an on-premises environment to the cloud, an administrator would typically utilize which service model? The answer is A. IaaS. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, provides virtualized computing resources over the Internet. In the context of cloud migration, IaaS allows organizations to outsource their needs for physical computing hardware, networking components, servers, and storage, while still providing full control over their software environment. This means administrators can easily migrate their existing virtual machines to the cloud, where the IaaS provider handles the physical infrastructure. Question 142. A technician needs to replace a ribbon in a printer due to poor quality text and image output. What kind of printer is likely being serviced? The answer is A. Impact. Impact printers, also known as dot matrix printers, use a printhead that physically impacts the paper through a ribbon to produce text and images. The ribbon, coated with ink, can become faded with use, leading to poor print quality. Replacing the ribbon is a common solution to restore the printer's ability to produce a clear and sharp output. Question 143. To enhance a server's resilience against multiple drive failures through a RAID setup, which RAID level would an administrator likely choose, given the need for redundancy and performance? The answer is D. RAID 10. RAID 10, also known as RAID 1 plus 0, combines the mirroring of RAID 1 with the striping of RAID 0. This configuration offers both redundancy and performance, as data is mirrored across pairs of drives, providing fault tolerance. In the event of a drive failure, the system can continue to operate using the mirrored copy while the failed drive is replaced and rebuilt. RAID 10 requires at least 4 drives but can withstand multiple drive failures as long as the failed drives are not within the same mirrored pair. Question 144. A user needs to provide internet access from their smartphone to a laptop due to an unexpected DSL outage. What action should be taken on the smartphone to share its cellular connection with the laptop? The answer is B. Configure the smartphone to act as a hotspot. Enabling the smartphone's hotspot feature allows it to share its cellular data connection with other devices via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or USB. This turns the smartphone into a wireless access point, providing internet access to the laptop when traditional wired connections fail. It's a quick and practical solution to ensure uninterrupted internet connectivity during outages. Question 145. A user wants to upgrade to the quickest hard drive possible. Out of the many drive connections available on the user's laptop, which one should the technician suggest as the optimal choice? The answer is A. NVMe drive. The NVMe drive is the best choice for speed in a hard drive upgrade because it uses the PCIe interface, which offers significantly higher data transfer rates compared to other drive connection options. Question 146. When multiple users find that they must physically press OK on the printer for each print job to proceed, what is the most probable cause of this issue? The answer is C. The default paper tray setting is incorrect. The requirement for users to manually press OK on the printer for each job often indicates a mismatch between the printer's default paper tray settings and the actual paper loaded in the printer. Printers can be configured to expect certain paper types or sizes, and if the loaded paper differs from these settings, the printer pauses to seek confirmation, ensuring it's using the correct paper for the print job. Question 147. What cloud concept would allow an online retailer to quickly scale up their web server capacity during times of high sales demand? The answer is B. Rapid elasticity. Rapid elasticity is a cloud characteristic that allows resources, like web server capacity, to be quickly scaled up or down in response to demand. For an online retailer facing peak sales times, this means being able to instantly add more server resources to handle increased traffic and then reduce them when demand decreases, ensuring an efficient and cost-effective operation. Question 148. A network technician has encountered an issue where the RJ45 connectors won't stay attached to the end of a patch cable. What tool should be used to resolve this issue? The answer is B. Crimper. A crimper is used to securely attach connectors to a cable. It compresses the connector onto the cable, ensuring that the metal contacts within the connector are properly pressed into the individual wires of the cable. This creates a firm and reliable connection, resolving the issue of connectors not staying attached. Without a crimper, the connectors may not be adequately fastened to the cable, leading to loose connections. Question 149. A company has distributed corporate smartphones to employees. While most of the smartphones are working without issue, one user reports that their device can no longer access the internet via cellular data following a day of extensive video conferencing with customers. What is the most likely reason for the device's inability to browse the internet? The answer is C. The phone has a data cap that was reached. The most likely reason the phone can no longer access the internet via cellular data after extensive use is that it has reached its data cap. Many cellular service plans include a set amount of data usage per month, and exceeding this limit can result in restricted internet access. In this case, extensive video conferencing, which consumes significant data, likely caused the phone to hit its data usage limit, leading to the temporary suspension of internet services until the next billing cycle or until additional data is purchased. Question 150. A workstation starts to slow down shortly after boot. Additionally, the fans switch between being very quiet and extremely loud. What component is most likely failing? The answer is A. Cooling fan. The variable fan noise and slowdown in computer performance indicates an issue with the cooling system, likely involving the fan. An overheating computer triggers the fan to increase speed for better cooling, resulting in louder operation. However, if the fan is malfunctioning, it may not consistently maintain the necessary speed, leading to periods of silence or inadequate cooling. Inadequate cooling causes the computer to automatically reduce its performance, a safeguard known as thermal throttling, to lower heat generation and avoid overheating damage. Question 151. A user is having trouble connecting their smartphone to their vehicle's audio system, while another mobile device connects without issue. What settings should be examined on the user's smartphone to troubleshoot the connection problem? The answer is C. Bluetooth. Bluetooth is the standard wireless technology used for exchanging data over short distances of a few meters, such as between a mobile device and a vehicle's audio system. If one phone is unable to connect while another does so successfully, it suggests the issue lies with the Bluetooth settings on the first phone. The user should check to ensure Bluetooth is turned on, the phone is discoverable, and it's not already paired with or blocked by another device. Question 152. A financial institution is looking for a cloud computing solution that allows sharing infrastructure with other organizations in the same sector. Which cloud model would be the most suitable for this requirement? The answer is D. Community. The community cloud model involves a cloud infrastructure that is shared among several organizations with common needs, making it ideal for businesses in the same industry. It allows these organizations to benefit from the economies of scale of a public cloud, but with the added control and security of a more private setting, tailored to their specific industry needs and regulations. This model strikes a balance between the exclusive nature of a private cloud and the broader accessibility of a public cloud. Question 153. Which of the following wireless standards offers the greatest combination of range and data transfer speed? The answer is C. 802.11ax. 802.11ax, also known as Wi-Fi 6, offers the best combination of range and data transfer speed among the listed wireless standards. It's designed to improve overall efficiency, especially in areas with high network congestion. Wi-Fi 6 provides higher data rates, increased capacity, and better performance in environments with many connected devices. Additionally, it improves on the range, offering more consistent and reliable connections over larger areas compared to its predecessors. Question 154. What type of cable, known for its reversibility, succeeded the Apple 30-pin connector? The answer is C. Lightning. The Lightning cable was introduced by Apple as a replacement for the older 30-pin connector. Notable for its reversible design, which allows it to be inserted into devices in either orientation, the Lightning cable provides a more convenient and user-friendly connection for charging and data transfer. It was specifically developed by Apple and has been widely used in their products since its introduction. Question 155. After upgrading the RAM in several Windows desktops, a few users are still experiencing performance issues. Upon inspection, it is discovered that the newly installed memory is not being recognized by these desktops. Which of the following actions would most likely resolve this issue? The answer is A. Adjust the relevant settings in the BIOS. Configuring the appropriate settings within the BIOS is necessary because the system's BIOS controls the basic hardware settings, including memory recognition. When new RAM is installed, the BIOS may need to be updated to recognize the additional memory, especially if the system does not automatically detect hardware changes. In some cases, memory slots may be disabled by default in the BIOS. By accessing the BIOS setup, you can enable these slots or adjust settings to ensure the system acknowledges the new memory modules. Question 156. A user's workstation is experiencing limited internet connectivity. They are able to open local files and connect to devices within the same network, but cannot reach any external networks, remote resources, or commonly visited websites. What is the most probable reason for this connectivity issue? The answer is A. Internet connection is down. A device that can interact within a local area network but fails to connect to external or internet-based services likely has an issue with its internet connection. The successful access to local files and devices confirms the local network functionality. However, the failure to navigate to web pages or utilize remote resources suggests that the problem lies with the device's ability to connect to the broader internet. Question 157. For setting up a server that will function as a host for virtual machines, which type of memory module should a technician prioritize for optimal reliability? The answer is D. ECC. Error-correcting code memory is specifically designed for server stability and data integrity and can provide additional reliability when the server is designated as a host for virtual machines. It has the ability to detect and correct common types of data corruption, ensuring that the VM operate without disruption due to memory errors. This reliability is essential in a server environment where multiple VM are running simultaneously, as it helps prevent system crashes and data loss that can be caused by corrupted memory. Question 158. When a server with a RAID 5 array signals a hard drive failure at startup and operates more slowly than usual, which of the following actions does the technician most likely need to perform? The answer is B. Replace the failed drive and rebuild the RAID. In a RAID 5 setup, data is striped across multiple drives with parity, allowing the system to continue operating even if one drive fails. The slowdown occurs because the system is operating in a degraded mode, where it has to reconstruct the missing data on the fly from the parity information. By replacing the failed drive and rebuilding the RAID array, the missing data is restored, parity is reestablished, and full performance is regained without data loss. Question 159. A technician is tasked with expanding the storage capacity of a workstation that lacks internal expansion options. To accomplish this, the technician decides to employ an external storage solution. Considering the available technologies, which interface would be the best option for connecting an external storage device to achieve high-speed data transfer rates? The answer is B. eSATA. The eSATA, or External Serial Advanced Technology Attachment Interface, is designed to connect external storage devices, offering speeds comparable to internal drives. It is the appropriate choice in scenarios where the workstation lacks space for internal expansion and high data transfer rates are needed, such as for large file transfers or backups. It provides a fast and reliable connection that is suitable for external hard drives. Question 160. In preparing for potential upgrades to the engineering team's workstations, which may include adding dual graphics cards, the ideal choice for a power supply would be one that provides sufficient wattage for such an expansion while also offering flexibility in cable management. Given the options, which power supply unit would be most suitable for these needs? The answer is A. 1000-watt modular power supply. A 1000-watt modular power supply is the best option because it offers high wattage to support the power demands of dual graphics cards, a common requirement for application engineering workstations. As for the modular design, it allows for better cable management, as only necessary cables need to be connected, reducing clutter and improving airflow within the case. This can also make it easier to add or remove components later, aligning with the team's plans for potential upgrades. Question 161. A smartphone provided to an employee was reported to have issues maintaining cloud service connections when not connected to Wi-Fi. Given the possible reasons listed, which one is the most probable cause for the smartphone's inability to stay connected to cloud services outside of a Wi-Fi network? The answer is D. A valid SIM card was not installed in the device. The most likely cause for a smartphone's inability to maintain cloud service connections when not on Wi-Fi is the absence of a valid SIM card. The SIM card is responsible for providing cellular network access, which is required for data services when Wi-Fi is unavailable. Without a proper SIM card, the smartphone would not have an active cellular data subscription to access cloud services, leading to connectivity issues once the device is no longer connected to a Wi-Fi network. Question 162. A newly constructed PC has failed the post, resulting in an error beep and subsequent shutdown. What is the appropriate next step for the technician to take after verifying that all components are accounted for? The answer is B. Ensure the graphics card is securely connected and powered. The post-error beep followed by a shutdown indicates a potential hardware issue. Graphics cards often require direct power from the power supply, and if this connection is not secure or the power cable is not connected, the system may fail to post. Ensuring that the graphics card is properly seated in the PCIe slot and that any required auxiliary power cables are connected is a critical step, as many modern graphics cards will not operate without direct power due to their high power demands, which the motherboard alone cannot fulfill. Question 163. An organization is facing an issue where unwanted emails are being received, seemingly sent from its own email domain. Additionally, there have been no security breaches of email accounts. To best address and prevent this type of email spoofing, which technology should the organization implement? The answer is C. SPF. Sender Policy Framework, or SPF, is designed to verify that incoming mail from a domain is being sent from a server authorized by that domain's administrator. It helps to prevent email spoofing by allowing the receiving mail server to check that incoming mail from a domain comes from a server allowed by that domain's SPF record in DNS. In the scenario described, implementing SPF records would allow the organization to specify which mail servers are permitted to send email on behalf of their domain, thus reducing the chances of spammers. Question 164. A technician is comparing two different wiring schemes for Ethernet cables. What is the primary distinction between the T56880 and T568B wiring standards? The answer is B. The position of the green and orange wire pairs are swapped. The primary difference between the T568A and T568B wiring standards lies in the color coding of the wire pairs used in the Ethernet cables. Both standards use the same color schemes, but the positions of the green and orange wire pairs are swapped. This means that the green pair is used for pins 1 and 2 in one standard, while in the other, it is used for pins 3 and 6, with the orange pair occupying the alternate positions. This swapping doesn't affect the cable's functionality, but it can affect compatibility with certain types of network hardware. Question 165. A technician sets up a new computer and discovers that the machine is assigning itself an IPA address. What would be the most probable cause for this occurrence? The answer is C. The DHCP server is unreachable. When a computer assigns itself an IPA address, it indicates that it's unable to communicate with a dynamic host configuration protocol or DHCP server. APIPA addresses are automatically assigned when a DHCP server is not available to provide an IP address. This self-assignment commonly indicates a network connectivity issue, suggesting that either the DHCP server is down, unreachable, or the computer is not correctly connected to the network where the DHCP server is operating. Question 166. A technician is examining a copier that produces lines on pages that are copied, but not on pages that are printed directly. What is the most probable reason for these lines appearing only on copied documents? The answer is C. Scratched glass on the copier scanner. Scratched glass on a copier scanner will cause lines on copied documents because these scratches are scanned along with the document, resulting in lines on the copies. However, directly printed documents bypass the scanning process and hence the glass, so they are not affected by the scratches, which would be why lines appear only on copied documents and not on direct prints. Question 167. A user who is hosting a video conference on a laptop is able to hear other attendees, but is not audible when speaking. What should be the first action taken by a support professional to address the issue? The answer is C. Check the user's audio output device. The issue described indicates a specific problem with the user's outgoing audio, which suggests the microphone or related settings might not be correctly configured. The initial step should be to investigate these settings to confirm that the correct device is selected and is functioning, as this is a common and easily rectifiable issue. In troubleshooting, it is usually best to start with measures that are simple and non-disruptive. Question 168. If a laptop's internal speakers are failing to produce sound and the audio component is displayed with a downward-pointing arrow in the Windows Device Manager, what action should be taken to resolve the sound problem? The answer is D. Enable the audio device. The downward-pointing arrow icon in Windows Device Manager indicates that the device is disabled. Therefore, the correct action to resolve the sound problem is to enable the audio device. This action will activate the speakers and allow the sound to be output, which is likely to resolve the issue without the need for hardware replacement or updates. Question 169. Among the listed options, which is responsible for assigning an IP address to a client device within a network? The answer is B. DHCP. DHCP, or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, is the network management protocol used to automate the process of configuring devices on IP networks, which includes assigning each device its own unique IP address. This allows devices to communicate on the network and the Internet without IP conflicts, ensuring that each device has a valid and unique IP address. Question 170. Which video cable is capable of transmitting an audio signal in addition to a video signal? The answer is A. HDMI. HDMI, which stands for High Definition Multimedia Interface, has the capability to carry both audio and video signals through a single cable. This enables it to deliver a full digital audio-visual stream, making it the go-to choice for connecting modern entertainment and computing devices where both high-quality audio and video are required simultaneously. Question 171. When assembling a workstation with dual advanced graphics cards and repurposing an existing ATX chassis, what type of power unit should a technician choose to best meet the energy demands of the system? The answer is C. A 1000-watt modular power supply. A 1000W modular power supply is the best choice for this scenario because high-end graphics cards, especially when using two, have significant power demands. A 1000W power supply provides ample power to support these graphics cards along with other components of the workstation. The modular design is also beneficial as it allows for better cable management and airflow within the ATX case, which helps for maintaining optimal temperatures in a high-performance workstation. Question 172. A technician troubleshooting a laser printer finds that the bottom of documents are being cut off. It's observed that this issue occurs with documents formatted for 8.5 by 14-inch paper and originates from one specific tray. What should be the technician's next step in resolving this issue? The answer is A. Confirm the paper trays are set to the correct paper size. The most likely cause of the issue is a misconfiguration of the paper tray settings, where the tray may not be correctly adjusted to accommodate the specified paper size of 8.5 by 14 inches. If the tray is set for a different size, this could lead to the bottom of the documents being cut off. Verifying and adjusting the paper tray to match the correct paper size is a logical next step, as it's a common source of such problems and is simpler and less invasive than replacing hardware components or changing default settings that might affect other print jobs. Question 173. An individual has recently assembled a workstation from components bought from an online marketplace. The computer starts up and can perform simple tasks like surfing the web. However, it powers off abruptly when attempting to play a 4K video or during gaming sessions. What is the most likely reason for the computer shutdown during these high-demand activities? The answer is B. Additional thermal paste is needed between the CPU and heatsink. The shutdown during high-demand activities, like playing a 4K video or gaming, is most likely due to the CPU overheating. These activities are CPU-intensive and would generate significant heat. If the thermal paste, which aids in heat transfer from the CPU to the heatsink, was not applied adequately during assembly, the CPU could overheat quickly, causing the system to shut down to prevent damage. Proper application of thermal paste is necessary for efficient cooling, especially under heavy load. Question 174. A support specialist was formally reprimanded after a network-wide service disruption. The interruption occurred because a software update was implemented without scheduling during active operational hours. What action could have most effectively helped the specialist avoid this mistake? The answer is A. Adhering to corporate policies and procedures. By adhering to corporate policies and procedures, you ensure that changes to the system, such as software updates, are done in a controlled manner to avoid disruptions. Following the corporate policies would likely have involved scheduled updates and proper approval processes, which would have prevented the unscheduled patch from being deployed at an inappropriate time. Question 175. A workstation has been relocated to a different area of a building where wired internet ports are not available, but internet access is available via an 802.11 AC network. To connect this workstation to the internet, what component must be installed in the workstation? The answer is A. Wireless NIC. A wireless NIC, or network interface card, is the correct component to install in the workstation for it to connect to an 802.11 AC wireless network. This is because a wireless NIC enables a workstation, which typically lacks built-in wireless capability, to connect to Wi-Fi networks. Question 176. An individual is setting up a new monitor featuring only a DVI input with a desktop computer that exclusively offers an HDMI output for video. What item is required for the technician to successfully connect the two devices? The answer is D, DVI to HDMI cable. A DVI to HDMI cable effectively bridges the compatibility gap between the differing video ports. This cable facilitates the transmission of the digital video signal from the computer's HDMI output to the monitor's DVI input. Since both HDMI and DVI carry digital signals, this cable enables a direct connection without needing any signal conversion, providing a simple and efficient way to link the two devices. Question 177. A technician is addressing an issue with a classroom projector that powers off automatically after being used for a short period of time. What is the most appropriate action for the technician to take in order to fix this problem? The answer is C. Clean the projector's air filter. The projector shutting down after a short period of use is commonly caused by overheating. Projectors have air filters to prevent dust and particles from getting into the internal components. Over time, these filters can become clogged with dust, hindering airflow and leading to overheating. When a projector overheats, it typically shuts down automatically to prevent damage. Cleaning the air filter restores proper airflow, reduces the risk of overheating, and should resolve the issue of the projector shutting down prematurely. Question 178. A technician is servicing a workstation and needs to confirm that its NIC is operating correctly. Which of the following tools should the technician employ for this verification? The answer is B, loopback plug. A loopback plug is a tool for verifying the functionality of a network interface card or NIC. This tool is designed to test the transmission and receiving capabilities of the NIC by sending a signal out through the network interface and looping it back into the system for it to be received. Essentially, it acts as a virtual network connection, allowing the technician to determine whether the NIC can successfully send and receive data. This is a direct and effective way to test the NIC without needing to connect to an actual network. Question 179. A technician is diagnosing a laptop that fails to access the internet over the corporate Wi-Fi, but works fine with a wired Ethernet connection. To determine if the laptop's wireless NIC is working properly, which of the following could the technician utilize? The answer is A, hotspot. The issue is specific to wireless connectivity, as the laptop can access the internet with a wired Ethernet connection. By connecting the laptop to an alternative wireless network, such as a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, the technician can determine if the problem is with the laptop's wireless NIC or the corporate Wi-Fi network. If the laptop connects successfully to the hotspot, it would indicate that the wireless NIC is functional and the issue may lie with the corporate Wi-Fi settings or connectivity. Question 180. An individual has indicated that their computer does not turn on. After confirming that both the power cable and the electrical outlet are functioning correctly, which hardware component inside the computer is most likely responsible for this issue? The answer is A, PSU. The power supply unit, or PSU, is the most likely culprit for the computer not turning on in this scenario. The PSU is responsible for converting electrical power from the outlet into a usable form for the computer and distributing it to all its internal components. If the power cord and outlet are confirmed to be working, but the computer still doesn't power up, it suggests a failure in the power supply, as it's the primary component that bridges external power sources to the computer's internal hardware. Question 181. In a Soho environment, which networking device is typically required to be positioned between the ISP and the LAN to facilitate connectivity. The answer is C, router. The router acts as the central point that connects the local area network in a small home office environment to the internet service provider. Routers are designed to manage and direct traffic between different networks, which in this case involves receiving data from the ISP and distributing it to various devices within the LAN. Question 182. A technician is setting up a workstation with the requirement that its hard drive be encrypted. To ensure this setup is successful, what feature must the technician confirm is activated on the workstation? The answer is C, TPM. The Trusted Platform Module, or TPM, is a specialized security hardware component that provides cryptographic functions, including the secure generation and storage of encryption keys. When setting up a hard drive encryption on a workstation, the TPM is crucial as it securely stores the encryption keys needed to encrypt and decrypt the drive. This makes the encryption process more secure and less vulnerable to tampering or hacking. Question 183. A server equipped with 3 hard drives displayed an error message suggesting its array was operating in a compromised state, yet the data remained accessible. Based on the scenario, which RAID setup is most likely in use? The answer is C, RAID 5. RAID 5 is a configuration that uses striping with parity, allowing the system to continue operating in a degraded mode if one drive fails. In a RAID 5 setup, data and parity information are distributed across all the drives. This means that if one drive goes down, the data can still be accessed and reconstructed from the remaining drives using the parity information. The scenario describes a system with 3 drives where data remains accessible despite an error indicating a degraded array, which aligns with how RAID 5 functions. Question 184. A technician is assembling a custom computer featuring an ITX-sized motherboard and needing a RAID 5 setup, with all drives sharing the same connection type. Considering these specifications, which type of drive connection is the technician most likely to select for this build? The answer is D, SATA. SATA is the most likely choice for this custom computer build because it is widely compatible with various motherboard sizes, including the ITX form factor, and is commonly used for RAID configurations like RAID 5. SATA drives are well suited for RAID 5 due to their balance of performance, capacity, and cost effectiveness. Additionally, the inclusion of multiple SATA interfaces is fairly standard with most ITX motherboards. Question 185. When performing an upgrade of the PSU in a gaming computer, what is the first step a technician should take? The answer is C. Check that the new PSU has a sufficient wattage rating. Checking that the new power supply unit, or PSU, has a sufficient wattage rating is the first step in upgrading a gaming computer's PSU because the power supply needs to meet the energy demands of all the computer's components, especially in a gaming PC, which typically has high-performance parts. These components draw significant power, and the PSU must provide enough wattage to support them reliably. Question 186. A technician is tasked with expanding the amount of RAM accessible in a virtual machine environment. What action should the technician take to accomplish this? The answer is D. Use the hypervisor to modify the allocation of resources. In a virtual machine environment, RAM allocation is managed through the hypervisor, which is the virtualization software layer that creates and runs virtual machines. By accessing the hypervisor settings, the technician can adjust the amount of RAM allocated to a specific virtual machine. This action directly changes the virtual machine's resource limits, allowing the technician to increase the RAM available to the virtual workstation. Question 187. An individual is experiencing an issue where their monitor, keyboard, mouse, and headset have all stopped working. Despite restarting the laptop and trying a different headset and monitor, the problem remains. A technician observes that a printer, a USB-C hub, and an AC adapter are all connected to the laptop. Which of the following actions will most likely resolve the issue? The answer is C. Replace the USB-C hub. The malfunction of multiple peripherals simultaneously points towards a common connection issue, likely the USB-C hub. Since the problem persists even after restarting the laptop and using alternative devices, the hub, serving as the central connection point for all these peripherals, emerges as the probable cause of failure. Replacing it could resolve the connectivity issue, as a defective hub can disrupt the operation of any devices connected through it. Question 188. In the context of virtualization technologies, which option enables the simultaneous operation of both Linux and Windows operating systems on the same hardware? The answer is D. Cross-platform. The term cross-platform refers to virtualization technology that is designed to support and manage different operating systems on the same physical machine. This allows for environments like Linux and Windows to run concurrently, providing the flexibility to operate multiple systems in parallel without the need for dual booting or separate hardware. This technology is essential for scenarios requiring simultaneous access to applications and services across different operating systems. Question 189. After a service technician installed a new gateway, a user finds themselves unable to connect to the SOBO Wi-Fi network. What action should the technician perform next to troubleshoot this connectivity problem? The answer is D. Verify the password and SSID are correct. After the installation of a new gateway, connectivity issues often arise from configuration discrepancies. Ensuring that the network credentials a user is attempting to connect with match the newly established or existing network settings is a fundamental troubleshooting step. This process includes confirming that the network name, also referred to as the SSID, and password entered on the user's device align with those set on the new gateway, as any mismatch here would prevent access to the Wi-Fi network. Question 190. A client has reported that their smartphone screen shows discoloration in various spots. What is the component within the smartphone that is most likely responsible for these screen issues? The answer is C. Liquid crystal display. The liquid crystal display, or LCD, is the component that directly generates the images seen on a phone's screen. Discoloration typically indicates a problem with the display itself, such as damaged pixels or issues with the liquid crystals that create the images. This type of problem is inherent to the display technology. Question 191. A technician is tasked with advising a client who travels around the world and requires an internet connection during their ventures to secluded territories where cell service is often sporadic or non-existent. What type of internet connectivity should the technician suggest for the most consistent access in these remote areas? The answer is A. Satellite. Satellite provides internet connectivity independent of terrestrial infrastructure, which is ideal for remote or rural locations where traditional cellular networks are unreliable or unavailable. Satellite internet can offer coverage in many parts of the world, including areas beyond the reach of standard broadband services. This global reach and the ability to transmit data to and from remote locations make it the most suitable choice for someone needing consistent internet access while traveling to various remote locations around the world. Question 192. An individual has assembled a computer using parts from an online vendor and followed online guides. However, upon pressing the power button, the system beeps and displays an error instead of loading the operating system installer. What is the most likely issue with the computer build? The answer is A. The CPU cooling fan is not connected. The issue likely lies with the CPU cooling system, specifically the CPU fan connection. When a computer is turned on and the CPU fan is not detected or functioning correctly, the system often responds with beep codes and displays an error message as a protective measure to prevent the CPU from overheating. Ensuring that the CPU fan is connected properly to the designated motherboard header is essential for the startup process and the overall health of the system. Question 193. After configuring a new access point, a technician notices delays and is seeking the optimal channel to reduce latency. What instrument would be most effective for identifying the ideal channel to use? The answer is A. Wi-Fi analyzer. A Wi-Fi analyzer is a tool that scans the wireless spectrum and reports on channel usage and signal interference. This enables the technician to determine the channels with the least congestion, which can minimize latency and improve overall wireless network performance. Such an analysis is crucial for selecting the best channel for an access point to ensure reliable and efficient connectivity. Question 194. A technician is in the process of assembling a new desktop PC and plans to install the storage device by directly interfacing it with the motherboard, negating the need for any connecting cables. What type of storage device is the technician likely to use in this setup? The answer is C. M.2. M.2 storage drives connect directly to the motherboard via a dedicated M.2 slot, eliminating the need for cables. This compact interface is streamlined for modern PC builds, enabling a sleek, space-saving design and quicker data access, which enhances the overall efficiency of the system. Question 195. A company wants to divert network traffic to a service that filters and automatically blocks access to websites that are known for being harmful or malicious by preventing them from resolving correctly. Which component of their network settings would they need to configure to integrate such a service? The answer is A. DNS server. The DNS server setting is the key component to configure in this scenario. DNS servers translate website names into IP addresses. By redirecting the DNS server to a service that specializes in filtering and blocking harmful or malicious sites, the company can prevent these sites from resolving correctly on their network. This setup ensures that when a user tries to access a known malicious site, the DNS server will not resolve the domain name, thereby blocking access to the site. Question 196. A technician is working on a projector that isn't displaying images, despite confirming that the source device and cable are functioning correctly. What is the next step the technician should take in diagnosing and resolving the issue with the projector? The answer is B. Replace the bulb. The bulb is the source of light that projects the image. If the source device and cable are working correctly, but no image is displayed, it suggests that the issue may be with the projector's ability to project the image, often due to a burnt-out or malfunctioning bulb. Since the bulb is required for image projection, replacing it can resolve issues where the projector fails to display any images. Question 197. A technician receives a complaint from a user suspecting a virus infection on their computer. What should be the first step taken by the technician to address this concern? The answer is C. Gather information about the symptoms the user is experiencing. Gathering information is the first step in the troubleshooting process because it helps the technician accurately diagnose the issue. Just as a doctor would assess symptoms before treatment, a technician should understand the computer's behavior to identify the virus and determine the most appropriate course of action. This information can reveal the severity of the infection and guide the technician to either proceed with remediation or take other protective measures, such as backing up data or running specialized antivirus scans. Question 198. If a person has misplaced their wallet with all their cards and needs an alternative way to make purchases, what smartphone technology could enable them to continue with transactions? The answer is D. NFC. NFC stands for Near Field Communication, which is the technology that enables smartphones to communicate with payment terminals to conduct transactions wirelessly. This feature allows users to make purchases without the need for physical credit or debit cards, offering a convenient alternative when such cards are unavailable, lost, or forgotten. NFC technology is widely used in various payment apps and mobile wallets for contactless payments. Question 199. A customer is looking to pair an external keyboard with their Android tablet and is considering the suitable types of connections to achieve this. Out of the available options, which would be able to accomplish this task, select 2. The answer is C and D, Bluetooth and USB-C. Bluetooth allows for wireless connectivity, which is commonly supported by both Android tablets and external keyboards, facilitating easy and convenient pairing. As for USB-C, it is a modern, versatile port that supports data and power delivery. Many Android tablets and external keyboards have USB-C ports, allowing for a wired connection if desired. These two methods provide flexible and widely compatible ways to connect an external keyboard to an Android tablet. Question 200. A web developer wants to test a website's functionality across various browsers and versions without installing each one on their single computer. Which of the following approaches would be the most efficient way to accomplish this? The answer is B. Utilize application virtualization. Application virtualization would allow the web developer to create separate instances of various browsers and their versions within a single machine environment. This technology simulates the different browsers without the need for multiple physical installations, enabling the developer to test web functionalities in a controlled, virtualized space. It eliminates the need for additional hardware and provides a flexible, scalable testing environment. Wow! You have completed 200 questions. How about one more question as a reward for your hard work? Question 201. Which of the following standard ports on a firewall should be open to allow a successful RDP connection? The answer is D. 3389. To facilitate a remote desktop protocol, or RDP connection, port 3389 must be open on the firewall. This specific port is reserved for RDP traffic, which is necessary for remote control of computers. Opening this port is a prerequisite for initiating and maintaining an RDP session between two computers over a network. Congratulations on reaching the end of our CompTIA A Plus Core 1 practice exam. Your commitment and determination are truly commendable. Now that you've completed this important step in your study process, you are that much closer to acquiring your certification. Your next step is to sign up for the official certification exam. But remember, while you've achieved so much already, there's no harm in some last-minute reinforcement. With us, you always have the freedom to dive back into our free training videos or give our practice exam another shot. That way you can ensure you're more than ready. And always remember that we are here cheering you on, eager to witness your next big achievement. So, best of luck. We're rooting for you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more great content.